Hi, I'm Nancy Coddington, Director of Science Content for Wskg Public Media. I apologize that I'm not there in person with you today, but I thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with you why public media is crucial to a project like this and how partnering with public media on an engineering course makes sense and helps to round out broader impacts on your projects. So we're going to start off with why? Why public media? Well, we are a trusted entity. When you tune into public media, whether it be your local PBS or your local NPR affiliate, you know that when you listen to that content, that it is going to be reliable media. It has been vetted. It's gone through several iterations and editing, and you know that it's going to be educational content. We're also a community convener. We're able to get organizations to the table to have really tough discussions on a variety of different topics. And we also leverage national content on a local basis. And what I mean by that is when we have local programs that come down, we work with local organizations to either do screenings or to really make a broader impact in our communities. For WSKG, we are a dual licensed organization, so we carry NPR content and we are also the local PBS affiliate. We do cover 21 counties across the southern tier of New York and the northern tier of Pennsylvania. So it's a really big footprint that we encompass with the potential to reach 1 million people. So we have a really big opportunity to take content that we're creating locally, like what we're doing with this engineering course, and be able to spread it across this huge footprint. So let's dive into this class and what we're actually doing. One of the big things that we are focused on is how do you use something called either new media or transmedia to tell a story? And what does that actually mean? Well, transmedia, you've probably experienced it for many years, but maybe didn't realize what it was. It's using a mix of media to help tell a story across many different platforms. And your audience can jump in at any one of those points and find your content and interact with it. So you're kind of creating marketers use this quite a bit. It's a great marketing plan to share content. If you think of Marvel Comics or Star Wars, they use transmedia. There's games, there's books, there's comics. There's definitely a lot of different ways that people can interact with that content. And we're leveraging that same idea. So we are going to use different media platforms, social media, video, print, to be able to share the content that you are coming up with. So whether that be science content, whether that be engineering content, this is a great way to be able to share this in a compelling and very interesting way. And so what we're doing is we're diving right in with our students with social media. A lot of these students have grown up using social media, but in that social sense, right? Not necessarily in the sense of a professional sense. So what we've done is we've created some social media best practices across the different platforms on how can you tell a story? How can you share cutting edge research? How can you interest the public in the really excellent work that you're doing using kind of a non-traditional platform like social media? And so what we've done is we've gone through some best practices on how to construct either a tweet or a Facebook post or an Instagram post. And the students are charged with creating these posts weekly. And so here is a kind of a list of guidelines that they have used to create very compelling and very interesting posts for people to engage in. The big social media platform of choice has been Twitter. Most of the students have created Twitter accounts and they have created professional usernames. That's a big component of this is how can we fill their toolbox with resources that they can pull on later on in their career. And this is exactly one way. So they are starting to build that social media, build that professional sense now. Some students had already created these and we're just fine tuning them, and others are starting from scratch and just started their accounts in February, which is really cool. But a really great way to be able to use Twitter as a transmedia platform is that it's really limited in character use. And so that kind of forces you into highlighting either using images or video content in your tweets. So on its own, it's already a transmedia experience because you're using more than one media to tell a story. And so what we have the students do is they focus on their content area. So we have students from chemistry, we have students from hotel science. So they will create a tweet or a post focused on their area of study, and then they use those best practices to make them engaging. And so this would be the same way that you might be able to leverage this content to share out the really exciting things that are happening in your field of science. We've also coined a hashtag, the Cornell EngCom hashtag. All of the students' posts, doesn't matter what platform they're posting, they use this hashtag so that we can follow their story across these different platforms. We've also created 3 class accounts. We have a Facebook account, we have a Twitter account, and we have an Instagram account. And so we can monitor students' posts. We also invite students to post on these media platforms, and which has been really helpful. One of the great things about having students do this is it offers a safe place for them to be able to kind of play with and start creating some of those posts and putting them out there and see what the response is going to be. We've had some really good interactions, and we've had some, learning curves as we go. But it's a great opportunity to also highlight the work that they're doing, because a lot of our students are doing some really amazing stuff, and it's a great spot to be able to share these very short, compelling stories. Here are some examples of tweets from some of our students. We have a fiber science student, and she has some really great images, and she has great videos that she shares on her Twitter account. So I'm really encouraged to see those. We have a PhD, Jason Gus, and he shares some great content with us, especially looking at microbes and bones. He's got some great, interesting stories, and he does a really nice job in crafting these tweets so that they have humor to them. So it's a kind of a nice balance between having that nice heavy science component, but also making it engaging and can be a little bit interactive. And then we have Matt Hine, and he has created something called the Hump Day Puzzle, and his background is in math. So he creates these math puzzles every Wednesday, and we share them out and tweet them at either different mathematicians or people in the community that we know are really math focused, and trying to get them to be involved with that. But this is one of the great things about this is we're using these hashtags, we're using keywords to get other people to engage in their content and engage in the stories that they're telling on this platform. And this really kind of gives way to the next big component that we are working with, which is creating videos. And so what better medium to use to visually share a story, to show what's going on out in the field or in your lab, than video. And so we've focused a lot of time on working with our students on who is the audience for these videos that you are going to be creating. We have teams, we have 8 teams, and they are all going to be creating one video, and it's going to vary anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes in length. That's mostly due to the time that we have to edit and film them. And we've also equipped them with iPads, Padcasters, and there's a picture of a Padcaster right there. What that does is it takes an iPad and it turns it into basically a video camera. So there's lenses, there's microphones, there's a tripod, and they are able to go out and shoot interviews. They're also able to shoot B-roll. And so B-roll are all those great images that you see during an interview when someone's talking. You don't necessarily watch their talking head the entire time. You're watching either images or some video of something compelling that matches what they're talking about on the screen. We've gone through interviewing skills. How do you actually conduct an interview? Who do you want to interview? Who is going to give you that best information for you to put into a video, especially a video of this length? And then how do you tell that story? Through storyboarding, we have the students lay out what that story is going to be and think about all the different shot compositions that they're going to need. What kind of B-roll, what kind of images are going to help tell the story that you are going after that will accompany these interviews. The students have also been taught how to use an editing software called LumaFusion, and this is a mobile software device editing system. And so right on the iPads, they're able to take the video content that they've shot and filmed, and they are able to bring it right into this mobile app and edit it. LumaFusion is great because it's not as heavy as your traditional professional Premiere, but it is a little bit more savvy than iMovie. So they can add several images, they can do voice narration, they can have their regular interviews in there, and there's multiple tracks, there's transitions, there's effects, there's a lot of different things that they can add into this. They've also learned how to create how to compose a shot. So what does it look like when you want to tell a compelling story? How do you get the correct angles, and how do you do the right lighting for these interviews? So we've gone through quite a few different components of all of the things you need to think about when you're creating a compelling, interesting science and engineering communication video. We're going to be taking these videos and they are going to be passed in front of the Wskg Science Advisory Committee. And once they get the stamp of approval from that committee, we will have an opportunity to use them on a platform called PBS Learning Media. This is an amazing digital resource for educators. It's available to educators across the country for free. There's no cost, and there are over 150,000 media assets on this resource. And what I mean by a media asset is there is video, there's audio recordings, there's interviews, there's images, there's games, there's lesson plans, and these have all been aligned to state and to national teaching standards. So this is a gold mine for educators and teachers across the country. WSKG has several collections on here, and through this course we are hoping to add new content on here in the science and engineering fields, focused on the videos that our students are going to be making. What's really great about PBS Learning Media is this is an opportunity for partners like yourselves to work with your own local PBS and NPR stations to create a more robust, broader impact statement. So as you are submitting those NSF grants, think about your local public media station. How can you partner together to add sustainability, but also leverage platforms like PBS Learning Media to share the great stuff that you're doing? Because I'm positive that you're doing some really cool stuff that the general public doesn't know anything about. So by implementing either social media strategies or creating video content that could live on this platform, it just opens a wide array of opportunities for you. Thank you so much, and I hope to be seeing you at the end of this conference or presentation for a Q&A session.